Hi, everybody. Lately, I've been thinking a lot about Waking Life, a movie from 2001, in connection with the US election just held November 2024. And I've spent the last few days grappling with how to best describe this film. And the best I've come up with is Waking Life is like an 8 times concentrated can of highly caffeinated, dangerously carbonated pop philosophy that's been shaken violently for about 12 hours. So open at your own risk. This film asks the big questions. What is the nature of life? What is consciousness? Why are we here? What does it all mean? We follow an unnamed hero, played by Wiley Wiggins, through a technicolour dreamscape, meeting an eclectic string of thinkers, artists, and raging cranks all along the way. And did I mention this movie makes me think about the US election held recently? We have to ask ourselves as we're watching this film, is the protagonist awake? Is he dead? Does it even matter? In what seems like hundreds of years ago, I minored in philosophy while studying journalism, and it was a strange existence. My more practical-minded peers were all taking economics, poli-sci, law, and history. I was struggling with razor blade editing of reel-to-reel documentaries. And then I caved my own head in proverbially with Kant, Schopenhauer, and David Hume's empiricism. And through my studies, I was inspired to upend my entire belief system down to the smoldering salted earth, and I adopted radical skepticism. And I can't say the process was the most fun I've ever had. Not the reel-to-reel tape editing, which sucked, but the several-year bout with radical skepticism. It did create a certain disciplined ruthlessness in my thought patterns, which I now believe makes me a very poor target for charismatic cult leaders, homeopathic doctors, and drum circles. This film was written and directed by Richard Linklater, and it's a visually gorgeous film, made using live-action actors, writers, and philosophers, the footage that was then overlaid with rotoscope animation. And the animation over the live-action vignettes becomes a subtext in and of itself. A raging prisoner ranting revenge fantasies in a cell is depicted as a flame-red monster. Faces warp and fluctuate to emphasize a point. A man talking about radical subjectivity becomes all teeth and eyes. The quote, "Yes, it is empty with such fullness." The feeling that the characters are floating through the landscape is done through rotoscoping, as I mentioned, and our hero remains there to amble, slide, and fly through increasingly more surreal environments. Particularly trippy for me was the scene with Jesse, played by Ethan Hawke, and Celine, by Julie Delpy from Before Sunrise, where Celine recounts her speech from that movie, wondering if she's simply an old woman remembering herself young and in love. Celine and Jesse, lying in bed together, were nothing more than thoughts and remembrances. Other voices in this film are not so wistful and romantic. One man tells us that a man has to have orgiastic states of death and destruction, and then calmly douses himself in gasoline and sets himself alight. Each character our hero meets has a different, fascinating, and at times troubling point of view. Overall, the entire film was akin to a religious experience. Well, it would have been if I hadn't read so much Hume and Bertrand Russell. Waking Life brought me back to those early days of arranging the mental furniture of my own waking life. One of the quotes, one of the worst mistakes you can make is to think you're alive when you're asleep in life's waiting room. There's a deep, life-shaking wisdom in every moment of waking life. It woke me up to something I had forgotten a long time ago. Quote, "I don't want a straw. I want real human moments. I want to see you. I want you to see me. I don't want to give that up. I don't want to be an ant, you know?" Thanks so much for listening to this review. I highly recommend Waking Life. It is a strange trip, but it helps us to make sense of the chaos we are all living in right now. Thanks again for listening. Please like and subscribe and share this with a friend. I really appreciate you listening. It means a lot to me. Thanks so much.
Really romantic evenings of South. I go salsa dancing with my confusion.